All right, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, with our Week 6 MLB weekly recap, of course. So, here are the standings at the moment as of today's August 24th, 2020, of course. So, of course, we'll do the normal. We started with the Central this time. Normally, I start with the East. And then for week 3, I think it was, week 3 or 4, I started with the West. This time we're going to start with the Central. So, of course, as always, we start with the AL just because it's just A comes before N. So we look at the AL Central here. Minnesota sitting in first place at 19 and 10. Cleveland's in second at 17 and 11. Chicago's in third at 17 and 12. Detroit's in fourth at 11 and 15. Kansas City sits in last at 11 and 17. So little tidbits about each of these teams, of course. Minnesota, power hungry team, always hitting homers right now. Nelson Cruz is having a great season. He leads the league in OPS right now, so that's very impressive. I don't think any of us expected that. It's pretty cool. He's been around for a while. He's finally, on a team that has a legitimate chance to compete for the first time in about a decade. So, Cleveland again is really being led by some key players. Right now, the Cy Young looks like it's Shane Bieber's to lose, and he's just doing so good right now. It's amazing. That offense is finally starting to heat up a little bit, but still, it's not where they want it to be. Chicago, speaking of offense, that offense has been looking real good. They just ended a 7-game winning streak, so they were on a 7-game winning streak before they lost last night, Sunday night, unfortunately for them. But the offense is just looking spectacular. The pitching still isn't there, but the offense is ready. Detroit, when they were 9 and 5, we knew they were going to rebound. We knew they were going to struggle. We knew this was happening. If you're a Tigers fan, you knew this was happening. You want to lose right now. You want to keep getting better picks because this is a lost season. If you qualify for the playoffs, you're going to get your butts kicked. But Detroit, still, there's some promise. Kansas City, yeah, you're a rebuilding team. We knew that this was going to happen. They're definitely someone to watch in the trade deadline, which is going to be a video next Monday, which is going to be the trade deadline, August 31st. They do have 2 guys tied for the AL lead in stolen bases, so there's that. They're playing small ball, but NL Central, Cubbies sit in first place at 17 and 10. St. Louis Cardinals sit in second at 9 and 8. Milwaukee Brewers at 11 and 15, along with the Cincinnati Reds, who are also 11 and 15, sit in third. And the Pittsburgh Pirates sit in last in that division at 7 and 17. Chicago, they're there. They're not dominant, but they're not horrible. John Lester just got his butt kicked by I believe it was the White Sox on Friday. It was either Thursday or Friday. And he was been their most consistent pitcher up to that point. Other than Darvish is just looking really good. So Darvish was a good move by them. St. Louis, they're a little better than 9 and 8, I'd say. But the thing is, they have to play a lot of doubleheaders right now, which means you're going to more likely than not end up resting a lot of your guys. Plus, they still don't have players like Paul DeJong and Yadier Molina back. This team's going to improve. If you're a Cardinals fan, don't worry. You're in a iffy division. Milwaukee and Cincinnati, I'm going to group them together. They've both been disappointments. The pitching staffs have been disappointments. The offenses have been disappointments. It's just they both got to figure out what's going on. Right now, I'd say Milwaukee's trending up a little bit more than Cincinnati, which isn't saying much. Pittsburgh, your best player is Josh Bell. He's barely above the Mendoza. Good luck. You guys are in position for that number 1 pick. AL West, of course, Oakland Athletics sitting first at 20 and 9. Houston sits in second, 15-13. Texas 10 and 17. Seattle 11 and 19, and the LA Angels, arguably the biggest disappointment of the year, sitting at 9 and 20. Oakland, they've been hot. They've been red hot. Everything's clicking for Oakland. The offense is looking great. The pitching is finally looking good. They're a real contender this year. Can they compete with the bigger teams? We'll find out. Houston, but right above 500. That's impressive. Alex Bregman's been hurt. He was put on the IL earlier this week or last week. And Yordan Alvarez has appeared in 2 games this year. Remember, he started the season on the injured list, and he just had his season ended. He needs surgery. So, Houston, you're going to need everyone else to stay healthy right now if you want to stay competitive in this division. Texas, right where I expected you to be. Seattle, same. LA, you guys will get a video at the end of the year if you keep struggling like this. That's all I'm going to say about them. Speaking of LA, the Dodgers are sitting pretty in first place in the NL West at 22-8. San Diego, again surprisingly, sitting comfortably in second place at 18-12. Then San Francisco 14-16, Colorado 13-15, Arizona half game behind them at 13-16. Dodgers, we were expecting them to be good, and a lot of their offensive players were struggling to start the season. Now they're finally heating up. Will Smith was on the injured list. He just came back. He finally hit another homer, so maybe his confidence will go up. We'll see. Bellinger still, I don't want to call him a disappointment, but he's been a bit of a disappointment this season. Again, we'll see what happens with him. San Diego has been called Slam Diego recently. I mentioned the White Sox offense was hot. This team, San Diego Padres, hit 5 grand slams in their past 7 games. That is unheard of. They had 4 consecutive games with hitting a grand slam. Now, we all heard the controversy with Fernando Tatis Jr. Funny that, the connection with him in Chicago. James Shields trade. Chicago originally did sign Tatis, don't forget that. And then they traded him for James Shields. San Diego has been hot. We all know the controversy, like I said, with Tatis. He goes up to bat, 3-0 pitch, someone throws a fastball, swings at it, it's a blowout game, hits a grand slam. Everyone in Texas was very, very upset, and Tatis apologized for it. You shouldn't apologize for hitting a grand slam. If you don't want to be in that situation, Texas, don't be blowing games that bad, okay? And Trevor Bauer, he's a very active guy on Twitter. He tweeted it. He said, the one thing you did wrong, Tatis, is you apologize. Don't apologize. So I just wanted to discuss that. It's not worthy of its own video, but it'll be interesting to see if Texas and San Diego have a little bit of a beef going on in the future. Maybe there'll be more rivals going on with each other. I mean, Texas has random rivalries with teams. So we'll see. I mean, anything is possible. They don't like the White Sox. So it's just, we'll see what happens with the Texas, San Diego. San Francisco finally cooling off. The offense is finally cooling off. The pitching isn't there. They're hanging around 500. That's because the AL West isn't that hot, and the bottom 2 teams in the NL West are cold. Speaking of them, Colorado, I mentioned it from the get-go. This team is going to struggle. They're not doing hot. They're struggling. The offense isn't there. The pitching is finally looking decent. Kyle Freeland is really a breakout right now. He's having arguably the best season of his career. His ERA is south of 3, which is always impressive for a Colorado pitcher. Just got to shout him out. Arizona, again, you got the Martes on offense. Bumgarner is expected to come back soon, but still not in the best position. AL East, Tampa Bay sits in first at 19-10. New York Yankees sit in second at 16-9. Baltimore sits in third at 14-14. Toronto technically also in third at 13-13. And Boston dead last, 9-20. Tampa Bay, everything's going well for them, on offense. Pitching-wise, Tyler Glasnow's still been a disappointment, but they'll figure it out. Yankees are a walking injured list at this point. Gleyber Torres just joined them on the just joined Judge and Stanton on the IL, and LeMahieu. So a lot of these key players on offense are getting hurt. Hopefully the Yankees players can rebound, because I don't like seeing players get hurt, but I'm not disappointed that players are getting hurt on the Yankees. I'm not a Yankees fan, and you're hard-pressed to find somebody in the United States, in the world, that follows baseball that says, oh, that's not a Yankees fan, that says, oh, I feel bad for the Yankees. Baltimore, they're cooling off a little bit, but they're still competitive. That offense is keeping them afloat. It's really surprising. I thought they'd be sellers this year, but they're not. And this offense is producing without Trey Mancini. Just got to point that out. Toronto, of course, Bo Bichette is not going to be playing for about another month at this point. The offense is still looking good, but it's young. Toronto has a long ways to go before they're truly competitive, but it's always good to see them compete. And Hyunjin Ryu's been doing solid as well this year. Just got to mention him. Boston, dead last in the AL East. Not looking good. As we know, of course, I'm a Phillies fan. They traded Brandon Workman. So there's your closer gone. Hembree was probably third in line to close. He's gone. He traded to the Phillies as well. Yeah, it's going to be something for Boston. Boston fans, don't be shocked if you guys are selling. But Boston has their little weird random, every 4 or 5 years you guys compete. And in the middle of that, you sell. It happened 4 or 5 years ago. It happened 4 or 5 years before that. It's just how Boston is. In the NL East, we have Atlanta sitting at first at 16-12, Miami sitting in second 11-11, the Mets sitting in third at 12-14, Washington a half game behind them at 11-14, Philly a half game behind them at 10-14. So the whole coronavirus thing with the Phillies is still affecting them. You know, they're still behind. Nationals too. Braves haven't been doing as well as you'd expect, but Acuna is still on the injured list. He missed all of last week. He's missed about 9 games for them. And Markakis, of course, is also on the injured list. He got exposed to the corona. So Atlanta has they called up their top prospect, Christian Pache. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's good. We'll see what happens. He's more of a defensive-minded player at this stage in his career. He's a little young for the majors. But why not call him up? You know, he's in the pool. He's ready to go up. You might as well. You already got the extra year of control service time with them. Marlins, this team is still surprising, but they have cooled off of late. Don't be shocked if the Marlins make the playoffs this year. The Mets, again, Pete Alonso not doing that hot. The pitching staff hasn't been doing as good as we expected, but the rest of the offense has been producing respectable numbers. McNeil, of course, is hurt right now. So yeah, McNeil. It was either McNeil or Davis. I'm pretty sure it was McNeil, though. I apologize if I'm wrong, Mets fans. He's still pretty good, but he slammed into the wall. He got hurt. He had to get carted off the field. Washington, another big disappointment along with the Angels. Of course, you're the defending champs, so people had higher expectations of you. You did lose Rendon. Hey, Angels. But other than that, I mean, the team's just not producing. Trey Turner finally getting stolen bases this year. He finally has 2. He got 2 this past week. He was expected to be this amazing base stealing threat. Just had to mention that. Juan Soto missing the start of the season hurt the team, but now he's back and he's producing. Philly, trust me, no matter what happens at the end of the season, I'm going to do a video on the Phillies, especially if they miss the playoffs. You're going to see a video probably from most divisions, at least one. And since this is the halfway point, I'm just going to say that. So expect those videos to be, you know, specifically probably in the AL Central, will probably be about the White Sox. This is, again, hypothetical probables. Probably going to do one for each division. Doesn't mean I will, guaranteed, for one team. NL Central, I mean, I'll probably skip that one. There's nothing amazing in there. Unless the Cardinals turn red hot, then I'll mention them. AL West will be the Angels. NL West will be the Padres. AL East, probably Baltimore if they can keep up being a 500 ball club. NL East will be the Phillies just because I'm so disappointed in them. But again, this is a halfway point. I don't want to go into too much detail since I did a longer video last week. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. These are the standings. Lots of teams are trending up and down. Next week, I'll go into a lot of details about the trade deadline when we get there. It's going to be interesting. I will not be grading the trades, but you will see this whiteboard again. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a lot of trades where you're going to see cash considerations flowing around. We saw that with the Brandon Workman trade. The Red Sox threw in $750,000, I think it was, of the remaining $1.1 million in the contracts of Workman and Hembree. So we'll see what happens. Again, expect a lot of money to be thrown around. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a good one. It's Eric heading out. I'll see you guys next week.